welcome to Storytime for Everyone. My name is Andrea. Today I'm going to share some suggestions for how you can make your story time more inclusive. I have the privilege of conducting baby story time at my library, so my examples will largely focus on babies, although not exclusively, but at any rate you can adapt all of these suggestions for your own age group. So let's go over our agenda for what we'll be talking about for the next 15 minutes. First, I wanted to let you know what we won't be covering so you don't get your expectations up too high, and what we will be covering. Also, we'll talk about why inclusivity is so very important. And finally, I'll give you a few quick easy suggestions for creating a more inclusive story time. Okay, so let's get started. I did want to be clear that I'm not going to delve deeply into how to make story time more welcoming for one particular group or adapt for a particular need. That is definitely something a library might want to do if they have a large population that is not being served by, say, an all-English story time, or if they want to meet the needs of hearing impaired kids in their area. Those are all very valuable services. However, that is not going to be my focus today. Rather, my focus is going to be on how we can make story time feel as welcoming and comfortable to as many visitors as possible. Obviously, we can't meet every need that might arise on the spot, but there are some things that we can do to prepare to make as many people feel more welcome, even if they're visiting from out of town and they just happen to drop into your story time. Okay, so why is inclusivity in story time so very important? You know, if we're already hitting the literacy pieces, modeling for parents how to have fun and read with their kids, modeling how to track the text, or boosting vocabulary with finger plays and things like that. Why do we need to focus on anything else? Well, firstly, studies show that it is very important for kids to see themselves and their families represented in books in order for them to be successful when learning how to read. Cahill and co-writers put it this way: when children are exposed to reading that reflects their lives, family, and friends, they're more interested in the story and bring more real-world knowledge to the text, which increases their comprehension. So that right there is a really good reason to focus on making our story times more inclusive, to help kids be able to latch in to the stories that they're hearing, to help them become more interested and boost their ability to comprehend and give them more confidence and more interest in learning how to read. Secondly, by not taking the time to adjust our story times a little bit, according to DeRosio, we might be leaving barriers in place that will prevent some parents from attending. For example, if a library has rules or expectations regarding noise, parents of kids with autism might feel that they're not welcome, or they might just feel too uncomfortable because they think they're being judged. Another example from BastekA's is a crowded space with no room for a wheelchair. This might prevent some families from even being able to get into the room. So not attending means those families are going to miss out on seeing you modeling how to have fun and enjoy books with little ones, how to ask kids a question about a book and then wait patiently for an answer, which is hard to do. So they might need to see that modeled. And the kids are going to miss the opportunities to play with their typical peers. So it is important that we make it clear that everyone is welcome and do our best to make it possible for people to be there, you know, the best that we can. And another benefit that everyone will miss out on if these people aren't able to come or feel that they're not able to come, according to Paula Holmes, is seeing adults, and namely the Storytime librarian, modeling interacting with a child who has a disability. Holmes is a parent of 2 children with disabilities, and she wrote this for the journal Children and Libraries. When librarians interact with a child who has a disability, they are modeling behavior for every patron in the library, as well as building trust with that child and his family. Librarians represent the view that that child will have of libraries for the rest of his life. So again, that's a really good reason to help children feel welcome at the library, and kind of make the library a part of their lives. It's a really good reason for us to kind of go out of our way, do some research, find some things that we can change about our story times. Okay, so now I'm going to share with you 3 simple things that you can do now, add to your story time if you haven't already, to increase your inclusivity. So what are some things that we can do? Number 1, read diverse books by diverse authors. A study done by Cahill et al. Showed that even though librarians talk about the importance of diverse books, they are still not sharing very many diverse books in their story times. It's possible that they are just relying on old favorites because it's easier and quicker to get ready for story time, or maybe they just love these certain books that they just want to do all the time. But it is important that we take the time to find books that feature kids from different countries, from different cultures, from different life experiences. So I'm just going to show you a couple that I found. You probably have a bunch that are diverse and fun, but I'll just share a few that I have that you maybe can add to your collection. So I like these books by Little Feminists. We Are Little Feminists. This one, On the Go, shows kids in wheelchairs, on crutches, using prosthetics, doing things that we all do, playing, running, hanging out with family. And I love the Global Baby series. This one is one I just discovered, Global Baby Grandparents. It shows pictures of babies from around the world being cuddled and loved by their grandparents. I love these books. I think they're so cute. Sharing books like these will go a long way, not only in making people with different backgrounds feel seen and valued and welcome. I think it can also go a long way in showing all the kids the many, many ways that we're all alike, even though we do have so many differences. I also wanted to point out that because these books are so small and they really are hard for everyone to see, probably especially babies, you might consider including some in your toy collections for families to look at together during free playtime. I also like to read books that incorporate different languages. Um, Sometimes I'll find books that the whole book is about how to say I love you in different languages, or how to say hello or welcome in different languages. And I just kind of stumble right through them, and it's still a lot of fun. This particular one, called My Heart Beats, features sounds from cultures around the world used to represent the sound of the human heartbeat. And I just think it's so sweet. Um, Doki doki goes my heart when I hold you in the air. Tutump, tutump. It thumps when you play with my hair. I don't remember what cultures those are from, but the book says on each page what culture the phrase is from. So I just think that's really sweet. It's really fun to read. Let's go to number 2. Number 2, add diverse music and nursery rhymes that reflect different cultures. Obviously, you can't incorporate everyone's culture in every session, but you can demonstrate that it's important to you by including multicultural songs and rhymes in your story times. Um, if you provide background music during free playtime, you can curate your list of songs to include children's songs from around the world. And when you recite nursery rhymes as a group with all the parents and the kids, you can be brave and try to recite a nursery rhyme in another language. I have done that, and it's not always comfortable for me, but I use a PowerPoint that is projected up onto the screen so that the parents can all see all of the nursery rhymes just in case they've forgotten them. It also helps keep me on track when I forget, what am I doing next? Just kind of look up behind me and see. But I just put like a Spanish um, nursery rhyme or some other language, and I will practice beforehand the best that I can. And then, of course, I forget by the time it's time to do it in front of an audience. But I still just kind of stumble along the best that I can, kind of laugh at myself while still showing, respect. Um, and don't be afraid to ask for correction if there's anyone in the room who might know that language. Okay, number 3, maybe my favorite. Whoops, forgot a slide. That was my music slide. It's cute. Diverse toys. Add toys to your collection for free play that represent diverse people. You can add, look at this, little baby dolls with a variety of skin shades and hair types. I just think they are so cute. These are all new toys that I just purchased for Storytime. I have not put them out yet, so I'm really excited to do so. I also just found this mix and match set of magnetic people with different skin shades. Toddlers will be able to put these together in different ways. They can put on a little, put together a little pair of pants with a little shirt and then a different head with a different skin shade. I think that will be fun. Another thing that I'm going to be adding to our Storytime toy basket is this simple little puzzle. It depicts children with different skin shades and with different abilities. There's a boy in a wheelchair. Sorry, there is a child in a wheelchair. Um, there's a child with hearing aids. The little ones in my baby story, they are probably not going to be able to put these pieces in correctly, but just playing with them together with their parents, I think will be beneficial. The parents will have an opportunity to think about diversity and maybe talk with their children about it and kind of normalize it for them. Okay. All right, this is another one that I'm adding. According to Rally and Payne, we should be adding toys that aren't just visual in nature. Toys that make a variety of sounds or have different textures are fun for everybody, obviously, but they can be especially enjoyed by children with visual impairments. Okay, those are the 3 easy tips I have for you: books, music, and toys. Super fun. I'm super excited about my new toys. Hopefully you'll be able to add some of these things to your story times. I've been talking about how to make your story times as welcoming as possible to as many people as possible, but of course, there are situations in which you'll want to shape your story time to the needs of a certain group. For example, you may want to focus on the needs of kids with autism since they might feel too uncomfortable in a typical story time environment. So Derozio suggests these changes. You could prepare a story time where there's just lower attendance. You only let so many people in so the kids don't feel as crowded. You can dim the lights and you can reduce the sound for kids who have sensitivities to those things. You can choose large books to read for the audience for easier viewing. And then you can also make sure everyone knows it's okay, encourage them to spread out if they feel more comfortable that way. So that was it. That was my 3 easy additions to get started on a more inclusive story time. The slide here says to get started because we can't just toss these things out there and say, okay, we're done. We've accomplished it. According to Berridge and Graffelman, there is no finish line. There's always more that we can learn. There's always more that we can do to make people feel comfortable and welcome that we weren't thinking about before. I am still becoming more aware of people's needs than I have before. And I expect that my understanding of diversity and inclusion will likely always be expanding. And I'm looking forward to that, but then I will, as I learn more, I will need to keep making adjustments. So I hope that this webinar was helpful to you, and I really appreciate you watching. Have a great day.